Hey, 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 it's Carmolaye. I'm back. And today is Wednesday, January 17th of 2024. This is session number 3 for this year, 2024. I decided to start over on this blog talk thing I got going on. So I decided to start over this year instead of continuing on to whatever session number I was on last year in 2023, whatever that was. It was either 25 or 26 or something like that. But for this year, for 2024, I decided to start over on, my vlog talk little series I got going. And I just, decided to start over from back to number 1. So this is number 3 of my vlog talk series this year so far. I appreciate everyone who listens, and I pray that other targeted individuals like myself and other chosen beings and other good-hearted people that go through, heavy spiritual warfare and heavy gang stalking experiences. I pray that, maybe listening to some of my experiences can help other target individuals, stay strong and not give up and still do what they need to do to, stay strong and keep the faith strong, I know it's hard out here, man. It's over op than a mother suck out here, man. It is so over gang stalkerish around here, man. It's not even funny. Even with ice on the road and shit. Like, it's cold right now of me doing this live stream, and it's ice and stuff on the ground and everything, and it's cold. And the last time I went through that situation like this going on, was back in 2021, back in like January. I think it was either January or February of the year 2021. And I remember I was working this warehouse job in Texas at the time, when I lived in Dallas, Texas area at that time. And I was working at this warehouse, and I had to stay off work for about 4 or 5 days off of that particular week, that there was ice on the road and things like that. And I was riding the public transportation train at the time there in that area in Dallas, Texas. So there was ice on the train tracks, and it was like the ice in the weather was just affecting the trains running properly and all that in that area. So I missed at least 4 days out of work. I know for sure. It could have been 5, but I think on that particular week when that happened with the ice on the road and stuff, and ice everywhere, extra cold, it was at least 4 days of work that I missed, but it could have been 5. But I remember that shit, man. So I feel you. But if you're out of work at this time for the ice and in the cold weather, just take advantage, man. Just chill out, meditate, do what you need to do. Do some things you've been wanting to catch up on personally, outside of work or something, just take this time for a little break. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I wanted to speak about today something I found out yesterday, the day before the date of this live stream. I received a lot of spiritual confirmations yesterday, and I wanted to share that yesterday, but it ended up some things coming up, and I decided to do that today. So today, Wednesday, January 17th, 2024, I'm going to let you know, all targeted individuals, chosen ones, and good-hearted people, to the ones who will go through heavy gang stalking experiences, the ones who are going through heavy spiritual warfare right now on your spiritual journey, I want to let you know that if you do not know already, ever since I want to say 2022, this is when I started really hearing the messages about people being in fraudulent marriages. Okay. And yeah, 2022 is when I would hear a lot of the tarot readers that I watched at the time, and still watch now, but there was a few that I had to stop watching because of, certain reasons. But at the time in 2022, there was a lot of tarot card readers who I was watching that was talking about, there was a lot of us, target individuals, chosen ones, and good-hearted people that are in fraudulent marriages. Some of us, okay, some of you. I know this can happen to men, masculines, but this mainly happens to females. Okay, my opinion. But I know that there's some men out there who can get messed over by toxic females. You know what I'm saying? So I do not discriminate at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm not biased like that. Like, I'm not just gonna be one. I'm not one-sided with my thoughts and everything. I can have compassions for all sides, but when it comes to, doing things behind the scenes to hinder someone and mess up their energy and all that, I just do not stand for that crap. It's just so childish, and it's not in me to do, to just gang stalk and pry in people's lives and be inconvenient and provoke and do all this other crap, just to make a target individual's life hard and all that. I never had that type of desire to just be an op like that for a living. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have jobs where I was holding signs for a fucking company. Like, I didn't have little odd jobs, all types of ways. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had no perfect, work record. I ain't never worked at no office or anything like that, and I don't down anyone who has. I'm just saying I've worked all kinds of jobs, I didn't go to college I did not go to college or anything. So I've worked these type of jobs but I did graduate high school though. So I've had fast food type of jobs before, worked at fast food restaurants, like early, like in my teen years to my 20s. And then I started working at like grocery stores. I done worked in the deli departments of grocery stores. I done worked at freaking, as a dishwasher in restaurants before. I didn't work at places like, I worked at a thrift store before years ago in my 20s. I mean, I done all types of jobs dealing with people, you know what I'm saying? And jobs that would be, not the best in pay, but it was still money made, you know what I'm saying? I was still grateful to have jobs that I was qualified to do, that I could still make money at the times when I was doing those type of things, But anyway, I don't know how I got into all that, but I'm just saying I didn't want anyone to think, because I mentioned something about a type of job or whatever, I didn't want people thinking that I downplay anybody's, purpose in life or job or whatever. Everyone has to do what they got to do. Long as it's not hurting people and projecting negative energy, I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? I don't judge like that. I am just against, people doing negative things, towards people who do not deserve it, especially children. You feel me? Whether it's negative, evil spell working behind the scenes, or whether if it's evil physical things that people do, physical acts that people do, that are negative. I just do not stand for that shit. But anyway, I got into all that because actually I forgot where I got into the mindset of talking about jobs. I think I said a comment about a certain position or something, and then I got into the the backstory of the type of jobs that I've done in my life, in my past and shit. But I'm just saying I don't judge people's occupation and all that, as long as it's not hurting people and all that type of shit, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Just stay out my way with the negative shit. You feel me? But anyway, it's just been a lot of energy with, a lot of gang stalking going on at jobs, and, the work mobbing thing. If you don't know what work mobbing is a type of tactic that gang stalkers use to gang stalk people at their workplace. Basically, that's what work mobbing is. But anyway, there's a lot of that's been going on, a lot of provoking type of situations, a lot of lying that goes on, things like that. But the main thing I wanted to talk about today, with the energy, on what I found out yesterday, the channel messages that I received and the spiritual confirmations that I received with those channel messages that I received yesterday. I ended up finding out the reason of why, or the main reason of why some people decide to put people in fraudulent marriages. In a physical way is the obvious reason of having some type of benefit spiritually and otherwise, like financially. Like if someone puts someone in a fraudulent marriage and they're in a secret society, for example, which is odds are that's the reason why they're in a fraudulent marriage, because someone in a secret society, affiliation type of group, put them in one. I know for a fact that if people were not in secret societies, they wouldn't be able to put people in fraudulent marriages like that. That's only the benefit of being in the secret society. Okay. It is what it is with that. You feel me? And unfortunately, I'm in that same freaking position. So to the target individuals that are in fraudulent marriages, I am one. Actually, I'm in 3 of them, and I should not be. I'm going to get to that, though. But I wanted to get to the main reason of why people put people in fraudulent marriages. I'm going to tell you the spiritual reason of why. Of course, the physical reason would be if that negative person that puts someone in a fraudulent marriage is in a secret society, for example, and they're in some negative stuff, obviously, right? Then putting a person who is a target individual, chosen one, a good-hearted person, if they put that person in a fraudulent marriage, spiritually, that benefits that negative person to have, protection type of energy around them because of the name that they're using, basically. Like me, for example, right? I'm in 3 freaking fraudulent marriages, and I should not be. I never consented to any one of them. I should have annulments, actually. But the system is so dirty with me. I know if I tried to fight the shit by my goddamn self, I would not get any freaking help at all. Like, I know that for sure. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's going to take a miracle for me. And I just, stay in prayer mode, meditation mode, and I stay chill. And I just pray for my own justice every day. And that's all I can do. But whatever. But for me, well, what I wanted to say first before I talk about my situation, that I found out behind the scenes of my life with 3 people putting me in fraudulent marriages and shit. I know about 2 of them, but I did not know about the 3rd one until yesterday, or actually last week. But I got the spiritual confirmation about that yesterday with the 3rd fraudulent marriage that I'm in that I did not know nothing about before last week. Okay. But I knew about 2 of them I was in 2023. I found those out. I found out about one in 2022. I found out about another fraudulent marriage shit I'm in last year in 2023. And then I just found out recently this month that I'm in another fraudulent marriage with someone who married me here in Shreveport, Louisiana, where I reside. And this is a fucking lie. I never consented to that. I'm not even with that freaking person. But the reason why they put me in a fraudulent marriage is to try to save their ass because of some bullshit they're in. And they want to suck me in it. And it's not going to work with either one of them. But I'm going to get to that. Okay. I'm going to try not to be too aggressive sounding on this, but I am upset about it. But anyway, because I didn't know about the 3rd one until recently. Like, goddamn, like how many people gonna marry me without my consent? Goddamn. If these people didn't have any Mason affiliations, they wouldn't have been able to do that to me. And other target individuals who are in fraudulent marriages without their consent, if the other person that put them in that was not in a secret society affiliation, they would not be able to do that shit either. That's all I'm saying. I respect secret societies. I just do not respect the fuck shit about it. With fraudulent paperwork on people and trying to put life insurance policies on and kill them and orchestrate certain shit so they can be in danger and all that fuck shit like that. I just don't stand for that fuck shit. You know what I'm saying? I just don't stand for that. You know what I mean? That makes me angry, especially when children's involved. You know what I'm saying? It's sad, especially when children are involved. This shit is sad. Okay. But anyway, get my thoughts together, y'all. But anyway, another main spiritual reason of why negative people put, people in fraudulent marriages without their consent. Another spiritual benefit of a reason why would be because that would represent, in a spiritual way, a binding type of contract. because you're bound to the person you're married to. But if you're married to someone that's positive in your life, it's not going to benefit you negatively, or it's not going to benefit them, in a negative way. It's going to be, if both people are positive and both people are, balanced and not negative and shit, then that binding contract would be positive, right? But in a negative sense, when someone puts a person in a fraudulent marriage without their consent, but it's still a legal document stating that they're married to them, even though it's done in an illegal way with secret society privilege type of ways, okay, it's still a legal contract. It's still a legal document, even though it was done illegally. So in a spiritual way, that can hinder a person, even if the other person did not consent to it. In a spiritual way, that is a way of that negative person siphoning energy from the chosen one, target individual, good-hearted person that they married without their consent. It's a way of siphoning spiritual energy from a person without their consent. But in a spiritual way, it is a binding contract or a binding spell on someone. And when it's done in a negative way, that is a negative type of binding spell on a person. So basically, I have 3 specific binding spells on me because I am married to 3 different males without my freaking consent from the year 2018 to now, or from 2018 to 2023, I should say. And I did not consent to either one of those fuckers. You know what I'm saying? I got divorced in October of 2008 in Tyler, Texas. You know what I'm saying? That's when my divorce was final. And the person that I was married to back then in my younger years, he ended up marrying me without my consent in 2018 when I was living in Bakersfield, California, and he married me in Texas. But since he has Mason affiliations and all that, he was able to marry me without my consent back in 2018. Someone named Jeremy Cooper, who I used to be married to in Tyler, Texas, but then I divorced from him October 2008, in Texas. Okay. Now, I figured out that he married me without my consent back in 2022 when I received spiritual confirmations regarding him, his fuck ass. And I never considered to that fuck ass marriage either. But then I ended up finding out through spiritual downloads and spiritual confirmations that I found out in 2023 regarding a second person who has made a fraudulent marriage. And his name is Jose Salazar. Jose Luis Salazar. And last I heard, he was in, Dallas, Texas or Garland, Texas area. But I stopped all contact with him back in 2021. So I used to know this person named Jose Salazar, right? I met him back in 2008 after I left my ex-husband at the time. And I ended up befriending him. He befriended me and all that shit. He ended up knowing me for years and helping me out when I needed help and all that type shit. And then ended up doing a whole lot of shit behind the scenes in my life that I did not know about at the time. But in 2022, I figured out that there was a lot of plots on my life that he was into, and he was trying to, plot on my downfall behind the scenes and all that crap. And I ended up receiving other spiritual downloads regarding him, but I'm not going to get into that on this video. I talked about that more on my podcast that I did last year in 2023. I went into detail on that part, but on one of the What's Heavy on My Heart episodes that I have on my podcast, Shining Harmonious Light with Carmolaye's Insight, that's found on Spotify. I have a series on that podcast called What's Heavy on My Heart, and on those series episodes, I spoke of personal things that I wanted to talk about that was not in a lesson type of way, It wasn't in an informing type of way. Some of it was informing, but it was more personal of things I was dealing with or things I found out or, things of that sort, And I ended up later finding out that the Jose Salazar dude that put me in a fraudulent marriage back in the year 2020 sometime without my consent, and I had no clue about back then. I assumed that he needed to put me in a fraudulent marriage so he could stay in the country, for, just to be honest with you. He told me he was Cuban and all that, but I don't know. He told me some things insinuating that he wasn't legal in the country, but I don't freaking know. You know what I'm saying? But I don't appreciate being married without my consent, just so people can siphon off my energy and people can physically, in 3D way, put me in some type of plot or plan that I have nothing to do with because of my name being on some shit like that, you know? Like, I'm just sick of it, you know? But I'm not the only one that happens to. I may be one of the few ones that's in more than one fraudulent marriage at one time, but, you know, I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, the last one that I wanted to really speak about is regarding a person that put me in a fraudulent marriage back last year in 2023. But it had to have been sometime after May sometime, because I swear I know that that fucker did not put me in a fraudulent marriage before May of 2023. It had to have been after that sometime. But there's an ex that I used to be with when I used to live in Bakersfield, California, and someone named Donald Self II. I was in a relationship with him, and I met him on some kind of social media app. I think it was Tagged or some shit. And I met him and his long-term girlfriend at the time, and I was in a polyamorous relationship with them, Donald Self II and this other woman. And that was in 2014 when I met them. Now, I left Bakersfield, California, October of 2019. The long-term girlfriend that was in that relationship before I met them, she left a year before I left California. She left a relationship with me and him way before I left California in October of 2019. But anyway, in October 2019 is when I first moved to Shreveport, Louisiana. Okay. And ever since October 2019, I have not been near California at all. Never went back. Okay. Do not plan on to. Okay. Now, I found out some things that Donald Self has done, my ex Donald Self, that plotted on his children's life and had his baby mother, Angel Jennings, someone named Angel Jennings, who ended up plotting on the lives of their two daughters. And in September 2022, those two daughters are no longer existing in this 3D realm. So instead of trying to put me in fraudulent shit and try to put me in lies and all that, they need to figure out what happened to them kids, what they need to do. People investigating me for nothing and for the wrong freaking reasons. They need to figure out what the heck happened to Donald Self's two children, two girls that since September 2022 has not been alive. That's what they need to do, is check that out and quit looking at me for the wrong freaking reasons. What they need to do. But anyway, so I'm guessing Donald Self put me in a fraudulent marriage back last year just to cover his ass, because he knows I live here in Shreveport, Louisiana. And somehow last year he moved here because I seen him with my own physical eyes. So, you know, he's gang stalking me here too, behind the scenes of my life and all that crap, whatever. But if my miracle ever comes to me and I'm able to get what I really want, I pray I get annulments from these fuckers. I've never consented to this shit, and spiritually I'm bound to them though. Ain't that some hoe shit? Like, people that put people in fraudulent marriages, they are putting binding spells on people when they do that, so they can siphon energy from them, because marriage is like a contract. It is a contract. It's like a spiritual contract. When you look at it in a spiritual way, it's a spiritual contract. You know, in 3D way, it's a marriage license, you know, but spiritually, that is a spiritual contract that you have to someone, basically. You know what I'm saying? So negative people benefit off that in a spiritual way and regular, physical 3D realm way too. Ain't that some whole shit? So to people who are in fraudulent marriages, I am with you. But I bet you I'm about the only one that is in 3 fraudulent marriages at the same freaking time. I could probably guarantee you that, but I did not receive any spiritual confirmation on that part. That's just me being sarcastic. But I bet I am the only one who's in 3 fraudulent marriages at the same time without their consent. I bet you that. That shit is crazy. But and the reason why I haven't fought this shit, even though I know about this in a spiritual way, is because I'm not secret society affiliated, and I'm not going to get justice from just me trying to fight it legally by myself, even with a lawyer that I if I was able to afford a lawyer, if I was, hypothetically speaking, if I was able to afford a good lawyer for myself, which I'm not, but if I was able to, I would still get messed over. I would still get messed over. That's how I feel. I just pray for my justice, and however I receive it, I just trust that. I trust in the process. I trust in the universe, and I trust in, the Most High God. I pray every day, and, I'm protected either way it goes. People can do what they want spiritually and otherwise to do negative things to people and all that. But when a person is really on their path in life and they're not bothering people negatively and they're doing what they need to do, God knows all and God sees all, So I just keep my faith strong. And even though I be pissed off about a lot of shit with that, especially with being married to 3 people without my consent, and there's nothing I can do about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Donald Self, my ex, he has me in a fraudulent marriage here in Shreveport, Louisiana, where I live. And I have not been around him, even though I do know he lives here. As of in the summertime, when I seen him with my physical eyes, I seen him walking when I was sitting in a vehicle waiting on someone. I'm sitting outside in the vehicle, whatever. I'm just chilling, and I see Donald Self riding a bike down the sidewalk, and he turns around, looks at me, but he doesn't realize he's looking at me. He looks back, and I actually see his face really good. That's how I know. That's how I knew back in the summer of 2023 that Donald Self was here. So he took it upon himself to marry me here where I reside without my consent. I swear. If these fuckers were not secret society affiliated, they would not be able to do that shit to people. That is only a secret society privilege to do. I know that for sure. And I respect the shit, but I don't respect that type of action with the shit. I respect secret societies, but I do not respect people that abuse their authority with the shit. That's where I draw the freaking line. You know what I'm saying? It's just too outrageous out here. Just to have people spiritually bound to them in a certain way is so fucking, man. It's clever to them. It's stupid to me because, I ain't got time for that stupid shit. But, all I can do is vent, speak out on things that I'm led to speak out on, and keep it moving. That's all I can do, I enjoy spreading encouragement to others. I enjoy being encouragement and motivation for others to go on their own spiritual healing journey if they need to. And so I've been doing so. And I just, stopped with the podcasting thing for a bit. I just went back to blogging and doing this type of thing. But, I enjoy giving encouragement and motivation to others, to go on their own spiritual healing journey if they need to, because I know how much it's helped me, And other little things I learned along the way, I enjoy sharing that because maybe I might be the first one they hear it from. If someone hasn't heard a certain part of information before spiritually and they just, happen to hear it from me, I'm glad I could help in that way, just any way for me to spread encouragement, motivation, and helpful information that can help other target individuals, chosen ones, and good-hearted people. I'm all for it, and I'm just doing my part, and I know how difficult these times are with spiritual warfare going on, and so I just do what I do to keep myself as positive-minded as I can and keep my mind busy, with things that I enjoy and things that I'm led to do, that I'm guided to do as well, So that's just how I do my part, And I appreciate who listens, and I just wanted to share what I wanted to share today, because it's still a lot of plots and plans going on behind the scenes, man. And the energy is strong with that right now. So all of us target individuals, chosen ones, and good-hearted people can do is to continue to be as positive-minded as we can be. And then when negative things arise, we can just, go through those things as smooth as we can, and not go into the deep end so much as other people like to do when they go into the negative parts of things. There's plenty of times where I could be in the deep end like that, but me praying a lot and me having a closer relationship with the Most High God, that's the only thing that's been really keeping me strong. My faith in God and stuff, that's been keeping me, and meditation as well, and so I'm just doing my part. I appreciate to the ones who listen, and I understand that things can be very hectic in people's lives, and a lot of people are very busy with things going on, but it's just about of how you deal with the things you deal with. It's all on how you do things, and I'm pretty much done with my message now. I appreciate to the ones who listen, and I want to end with this: stay encouraged, stay elevated, and stay empowered. I'm out, y'all.